Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thank you for joining me here today with my 2023 Bolt EUV. Although this video is not really about the Bolt, I'm going to show you around the garage. It is about an hour or so before sunrise. You can kind of see the skies getting lighter. I just couldn't sleep very well, so here I am, and now I woke up whatever birds are in this tree, so we're gonna have some background music for this. I shot a video last night, actually about 12 hours ago. I shot a video. Only when I went back to edit it, there was no audio. None. It was literally just me doing. So that video is gonna end up meeting the trash can. But I did want to show you guys this after all. So I went out and I purchased this Yukon 9-drawer toolbox. If I recall correctly, it is 46 inches wide with a wooden top. Drawers are really, really smooth operating if you actually use them properly. It does come with 2 keys. So it's a really nice toolbox. It's got 5-inch casters, and it moves really easily. So I went through the process of assembling this thing last night, but lo and behold, that video is gone. I'll actually insert a few pieces here for you guys to look at. But anyway, the whole point of this video is I want to make a little bit of sense of what's happening over here in this corner, because you can probably see that there's an incredible amount of stuff piling up. So everything from a hose to, dustpan and brush and extension cables. These 2 plastic things here, actually, let me give you a little bit of light here so you can see. So these 2 black plastic pieces actually go to Kubo right here. They were actually part of the deck cover, and I went through and I removed them because of the fact that the first few times that I ran it with the cover on, so much grass got bunched up in there, and no matter how many times I cleaned it and did the whole, with the brush to try to get, all this stuff cleaned out, it literally just bunched up under here, and every time I ran the deck, it smelled like grass was burning. And so the last time I cleaned it deeply, I took this off. I noted that there was some paint damage here, and it's actually, I thought it was grease originally, but it's actually grooved. The paint is grooved in this area, so there must have been, mud and debris, whatever, here that was causing some of that damage. So what I did was I took both of the covers off on both sides, and it was such a breeze to clean. So if you have one of these, I recommend try running it without those black plastic covers, because it'll be a breeze to clean. So those plastic covers are actually laying right there with the bolts actually in the bowl. And the next part of this is actually what I wanted to sort of get into a little bit further on this video, because you guys are probably aware by now. Let me set this light somewhere here so we can have a little bit of light in this corner while I'm talking about it. So back when I was a traveling network engineer, field engineer, if you will, I bought these this DeWalt Tough System from, I think it was Home Depot, and it was a really good investment at the time. And I thought, I got all these bags, like there's this tool bag here that still has some tools in it. There's a tool bag right there that's still in the cellophane from the move. And there's a couple of tool bags and boxes behind these cardboard boxes over here. But the point I'm trying to make is that I had so many boxes and so many bags that I was just carrying and going from A to Z, putting them in the car, then taking them out and doing my job, putting them back in the car. It was always a pain. So what I did was I got this stack of toolboxes, and they actually were really awesome. You get this giant one, this middle-sized one, and then this smaller one, and they all latch together with these little yellow latches on both sides. And what's best is you can pull this around. It's got two wheels on the back, rubberized wheels, that you can actually lug this thing around as if it were a suitcase in the airport. It's actually really neat. Oh, and there's some more toolboxes over there actually too that I forgot. So just, you know, just with all of that, it made sense to invest in that. But over the last, I don't know, year and a half, especially since we've been here, I haven't had the need for, you know, rolling my tools around regularly. So enter the Yukon box. Relatively inexpensive. I bought this at Harbor Freight. I bought it on their website and they delivered it. What was really cool about this was Harbor Freight. I don't think Harbor Freight does anything normal sized, because the delivery of this was free, first of all. Second of all, they showed up in a semi-trailer, an 18-wheeler, to drop this thing off on a road that might be 10 feet wide. I don't know if you could see it there, but it was an interesting affair. Also, this thing's very heavy. While it's in a box, I think the shipping weight is about 300 pounds. But being that our driveway is crushed granite or whatever that is, they were able to just pull the whole box in here, and even left me some lines along the floor here to remember this momentous occasion. Anyway, I'm not really going to get into this very much. What I wanted to do is just kind of briefly go over what this project will entail. So Eddie is sleeping on the other side of this wall. That's where his bedroom is. And I want to be sure that I don't make so much noise that I'm going to wake him up, before he really needs to be up. So probably for the next 2 hours or so, I'm going to slowly go through this. Might do a time lapse or something, or I'll just come on regularly and just give you guys an update. But the whole idea is to fit as much stuff into this. You know, I was thinking, I don't actually have a junk drawer in the house. We do have a junk drawer in the kitchen that has like pens and, Tylenol bottles in it and whatnot. But this one's lockable. I love things that you can secure. So that's actually a really good feature of this. I really love the fact that it came with 2 keys. Has the 2 keys, and you can kind of go lock all your drawers down, make sure it's all safe and secure. So I'm actually going to start moving this stuff away from the wall, because this guy is actually going to live somewhere in this area, and I haven't decided if the extension cords are going to go in it or if I'm going to get like a little bookshelf, a little metal bookshelf for this little corner over here that'll be able to hold, the little extension reels and maybe a few other things. Like for sure, that hammer should not be there. So anyway, I'm going to try to make some progress. I'm going to just set up the camera. I'm going to roll it, and then I'll cut in whatever I can come up with. But that's kind of my project for the day. This has been on my list of things to do for a long time. Well, let me rephrase that. Organizing this was on my list of things to do for a long time. getting this was on my list for, I don't know, the last week or so. I ordered this about 10 days ago, maybe 8 days ago, and it arrived 2 days ago, and I finally unboxed it last night. That video got hosed, so here we are again. There wasn't much to the assembly of this, honestly. Here, let me show you. So, you had to add this handle. By the way, this blue is really growing on me. I mentioned that in the video last night. I wanted to order the black one, which they do have, but it was for store pickup only. You couldn't actually have it delivered, but they had the white and the blue ones, and I think there was a red one too, you know, all American colors, and those you could get delivered. So I just picked the blue one because I felt it was the least obtrusive. I would have loved to have the black one, but this blue is actually growing on me. It's really deep saturated blue, and it's starting to really wear me down, and I like it. The casters are really nice, you know, nothing crazy, but nevertheless it's a nice little, you know, storage cabinet. And I do like this wood on top. I don't know if you would screw into this like a vise or something, because this isn't that thick, but I'm sure you can, you know, have something standing next to this cabinet that could support a vise. I don't know. So anyway, I'll take you outside here for a second. So the sun is coming up slowly. We're about an hour from sunrise, but we're not going to really see the sun today because it is going to be raining all day long. It's been raining for the last 24 hours, and I must say it's some of the most peaceful rain that I've seen here yet. It's raining, but it's not like wham. It's not slamming you, you know, head on. It is enough to wash the car, but not enough to, you know, throw your trash cans around and knock over chairs and stuff like that. Yesterday I was actually sitting here watching Dutchie run around when it was kind of a break in the rain, and just like right now, it's not really raining, but when I started shooting, it was definitely raining. So let's see. I did fill up the trash cans with the packaging. Of course, they boxed it up with this garbage styrofoam, which I personally hate that stuff, because now it's all over everywhere, and it's going to take me a while to clean it up once the stuff dries up. I cleaned up the garage as best as I could, but if you look over here, it's just all over the floor, and you know, you walking and it moves, so it's really hard to sweep it up. But anyway, let me turn this little flashlight off. Really cool flashlight, by the way. This is one of those Milwaukee Rover flashlights. Not sponsored. Also, Yukon didn't sponsor this. Harbor Freight didn't sponsor it. Nobody's sponsoring me. We should all know that by now. So I'm going to start with this, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in a little bit here. All right, so here's what my thought is for trying to organize this in the best way possible. So obviously my idea is to get some form of order to this madness, because we just have stuff everywhere, and I really do want to be able to park my Bolt EUV in here, and I'm still convinced that I can somehow make that happen, although there's a lot of work that has to happen for that to take place. So I'm going to start with this. Now, in case you're wondering what all these washers are, and this bolt, and this little wrench here, let me bring that closer to you here. This was part of the packaging that came with this. Here's the kicker. The instructions absolutely do not mention the word washer, or, you know, there was actually crush washers that I actually did put on, you know, to prevent the bolts from turning themselves out, or backing off, I should say. And I did put those on the casters, but these proved to be nearly impossible to put on. And I tried to figure out the best way to do it. You know, you put a bolt with the crush washer on through the caster, put the washer on, and then put that on. You could do that once, but then you couldn't do it for the other three. Once you kind of hand tighten it down, you wouldn't be able to get this washer onto this bolt. So they came with these bolts, this kind of a crush washer that has the offset little split. So you put that on like such, you drive it through the plate of the caster, and then in theory, my guess is you would put this one on afterwards, and then you'd use this to tighten it down. But that just proved about as close to impossible as I could get it. So anyway, like I said, the idea of this is to try to drive some organization into it. Like, there's some receipts here. You guys know how CVS loves to do their long receipts. I don't know how this isn't illegal. You know, you buy a candy bar and you have a 6-mile long receipt. All right. So the idea with this is to put as much of the stuff that's floating around over here into this toolbox, and then I'm actually going to donate the Tough System boxes to my mom, who also, like me, has a hoard of tools, but she uses bookshelves to organize her tools. So I'm going to give her something to put them in so she can, if needed, she can wheel them around. Because, you know, she's not a bodybuilder and she shouldn't have to carry around a ton of weight. So let me move this into a position so you guys can see a little bit. I keep nudging the fact that this garage is horrible to shoot in, because the light is in the middle of the room and there's nothing along the edges. So this part is really dark, and I'm using these flashlights to kind of just light up various sections of this area for you guys to be able to see it. So forgive me if the video is not 100%. I'll try to lighten it once I get the footage into the computer. Okay, the one thing that I feel the need to point out is that this only has 2 wheels that steer, and the wheels are on the handle side, the wheels that steer. So I'm actually trying to just roll this thing out here, and then once I get it past these vacuum cleaners and such, I'm going to hard turn it and park it right along the line here of where I'm going to cheat a little bit, because why not? So, okay, so we have that here, and I'm going to double cheat and use this old stool so that way I don't put undue stress on my back by working. When I'm working close to the floor like this, I've learned that if I just, you know, take a seat, it actually works better for me. So, okay. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so carpet steamer, or carpet vacuum, whatever you call it. I have no idea where this guy came from, but I like the fact that it's corded. So, yay, Dirt Devil. I like it. I actually grew up with these vacuum cleaners at the school that I went to, the private school I went to for 11 years. Okay, so we have a dish tray. Do you guys feel like you're far away? Let me bring you a little closer. Okay, let's see what we got here. Bring you closer. Okay, how's that? You guys good? All right. So I'm just gonna move some stuff out of here. This was a gift from my mom, this hose. It's 100 feet. She got it on sale, and I told her I needed one because at the time we were getting ready to plant some bushes and a red maple tree out front of our house. And if I remember, or if you guys want to know more about those, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll actually shoot a video on those plants. I'm not a green thumb. In fact, typically every living thing that I touch that's supposed to be green typically turns brown within a few weeks, but these guys are actually doing really well. Historically in California, I couldn't even get a tomato plant to grow. The tomatoes would just explode and die. So I have a history of, killing stuff that should be relatively easy to maintain, but that's just not how it goes. Let me empty out my pockets here so it's relatively easy to work with. Because it was nighttime, I did come out here armed because we do have animals. So if you see that and you are offended by it, I apologize. So moving on. I have a lot of trays. These actually go into a toolbox that I have no idea where it is. This is one of those the fork, knife, and spoon organizers. So I don't know how this got out here, but I think I ended up buying a new one because I couldn't find this one after we moved. So I think I just found it, and it wasn't really that hard to find. Okay, so in this bag, there is, let's see what's in here. There's network cables in here. There is side cutters. These are all various toolkits. Like here's a tone and probe. Love these tools. Used to use them all the time. So I'm going to hold on to them for a while longer until I officially terminate my network engineering career. So for those who don't know, and if you're curious, you can actually scroll way down on the video list of this channel, because over the years this channel evolved a little bit. Originally started out as the 6 Foot Networks channel. 6 Foot Networks was the consultancy that I owned in Los Angeles, which was headquartered in Valencia, California, for 10 years. And as part of that, as part of the ownership of that company, it was my responsibility to basically maintain technology in the data center. So whatever you can mount in a rack, our company could handle, and we did that until we relocated out here. And so I've amassed an insane amount of, cabling tools that allow us to make cables, and here's a set of flush cuts. Here's another set of crimpers. Here's a rope that you would use to pull cable through a wall, that you could tie to it and pull it. And so there's a whole bunch of, like, check this out. Here's a box in a box in a box in a box. Here's a tool to see if you're working with live outlets. You stick both of these ends in, and it'll tell you if it's 120, 240, 277, or 480. So if you're working with a rack that you don't know if it's hot or not. Here's a a tool to test optical power conduction. There's a lot of stuff in here. So since I moved to South Carolina, since we're here now, I've actually, here's more crimpers. I've actually haven't had the need for these tools. So specifically, you know, I didn't have the need to install like a new rack, like a new server cabinet that you can install either servers, network equipment into, or whatnot. Oh, here's a fortune cookie from Panda Express, probably 50 years old. But yeah, patch cables, screwdrivers, batteries, 9-volt batteries for the tools, etc., etc. You know, I don't know if these are any good anymore. I don't know what the data of those is, but I'll put those right here so I can see them. But anyway, when I came out here, the whole business philosophy, my whole business philosophy changed. So instead of doing straight on field work, I'm now in a much better position to provide cybersecurity services versus just going in and doing configurations. Now I have guys that I actually hire for projects that'll go in, do firewall configurations, switch configurations, and all that stuff. And I also have systems guys that will go in and maintain, servers and desktops and all the way down to like a printer that's on the network. But I physically do not do that anymore. So, these tools are not really a requirement of my job anymore. They used to be, but not anymore. So I'm going to merge a lot of these together. Maybe I'll sell some of these because, some of these tools are really, really good and really expensive. Some of these tools can go upwards of $200, $300 a piece, especially some of the optical tools that I have for fiber optics. But anyway, let's proceed here. This drain actually goes on my roof. It is an extension of a gutter, but it doesn't stay on, so I have to maybe seal it with some adhesive or something so that it stays put. Every time there's a strong wind, it just woohoo goes flying. I think everybody should have a good multimeter with an inch of dust on it. This one's really good. I have no idea what brand this is. Oh, I do know what brand this is. This is a GB Instruments. It is a GDT 292A alpha. And this tool, I used to use this when I started in IT. I started my tenure in IT in Atlanta, and I was a building engineer that kind of converted into IT when I convinced the general manager of the hotel that I knew what I was doing with computers, and he let me do my first token ring to Ethernet conversion. Now, for those that know anything about networking, token ring was a thing of the past. And in the early 2000s, it was a thing to be gotten rid of. Oh, by the way, that's another thing I like about this toolbox. It's ferrous, so magnets stick to it. So I'm going to just put my little dish. I have a lot of these dishes for like screws and stuff. Eddie was playing with one of them a couple of days ago, so I'll have to find that one. It's a rectangle one, but they can live there. So anyway, that's where I used that meter because I was still relatively new to the game and I was afraid of getting zapped. You know, when you're working with stuff, you never know. A bad ground could allow you to get shocked. And if you don't ground your server cabinets, they'll build up static over time. Every time you touch them, you will get shocked. And if you have a system that's leaking to ground, so like if you have a power supply that's failing and it's actually putting a little bit of voltage onto your ground, that can also energize anything that's metal and ultimately give you a nice crisp wake-up call at a time when you don't want it. So some of this other stuff here, I actually bought, I bought a tube of super lube. This is a multi-purpose synthetic grease, and this is actually for the Bolt EUV. There is an issue with this particular vehicle. I don't know if it's all of them. I don't know if it's some of them, but I'll share it with you real quick. There is an issue where when it's really cold outside, like when I first got the vehicle, about a month afterwards, when you turn the wheel, it starts squeaking. There's essentially a rubber boot that insulates the steering column from the edges of the firewall, and this is supposed to solve the problem. So because it hasn't been cold, like per se, I mean, it is kind of cool, but it's not as cold as it was. Like if it was in the low 50s, it would be squealing. So I ended up buying this, but I never used it because it got warmer, and now I don't think about it. So it's kind of that whole out of sight, out of mind thing, which not good because this wasn't cheap and the issue still exists, and I could potentially damage some of the rubber that's, you know, where the steering shaft goes through. So I really should put this in a spot where I won't forget it. So I'll put that right there. This is a 15-in-1 paint tool that I bought in Valencia for our house in Valencia, and I used it in a way that now I guess I could return it if I had to, but I'm actually going to keep it because I'm starting to try to DIY more and outsource less because I just, you know, I think that should be everybody's mission. This little toolbox has miniature tools in it. All the computer stuff. Oh, excuse me. Got the hiccups now. So yeah, little tiny screwdrivers, little tiny tweezers. You know, here's a Phillips head. But I think I'm going to keep this in this toolbox. Oh, actually, here's some full-size Stanley tools. These Stanley tools were actually a gift from my father-in-law. Now is a good time to maybe open up one of these drawers and start popping in some screwdrivers. So little nubbies. I always love the nubbies. Oh, here's my iFixit screwdriver that goes into my... Oh, there's a couple of tools in here that should not be in here. But I think I should just, for now, get the tools in here and organize later. Yeah. Okay. Toolbox 1 empty. Well, minus the bits and stuff for the small screwdrivers. Here, this is a multi screwdriver, so I can put that in here. I've got vice grips. You know, those who don't have vice grips in their garage are certainly missing out. One of the things I love about this toolbox is you can open more than one drawer at a time. They tell you in the manual not to do that because if you make it you know, too heavy on this side, you can actually whoop, flip it over. This is a container that has screws and stuff, drywall screws, these anchors to mount stuff to the wall. So I'm actually going to keep them in here for now. This is part of that tough, the tough system. So I'm going to have to find maybe Ziploc bags or something to put this stuff into. Or actually I could probably use this tray to hold some screws in it. So maybe I'll do that, because I want to give that set to my mom completely with these with that storage box too. So all right, let's see what else. These are the little tiny tools that go into the little tiny toolbox. I still don't know what to do with those miniature tools. I do have tons of them. This is the compressor, the accessories for the compressor. I think I showed these in my birth week video, because these were kind of a gift from me to me. I think for air tools, I'm just going to maybe take one of these drawers and just kind of maybe take a side of it. Or just take the whole drawer. I have to find the grease gun that this goes to. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has to be found in this garage. That's the one thing I'm really miserable about with this garage, is we were in such a haste to leave the old place that nothing was really labeled and nothing was really organized. When the movers came in, they just came in with shrink wrap and tape, and they were just like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to find anything. And sure enough, you know, like using this little silverware tray as an example, you know, I must have found it, or my wife found it, or somebody, and just laid it there, because I ended up having to buy one when we moved here, and we already had one. So that's the one example that I'm having to really like deal with in my mind, because you don't want that to happen. You know, that's not optimal. I'm gonna actually, I think I'm gonna slide this out a little bit. That's heavier than I remember, but let's see if I can make this move a little bit. If I can make my sweatpants stay up, that'd be great. Of course, everything is wedged in here. So, okay. There's some miscellaneous stuff in here. This is a tool to bore out holes. There's a caulk gun in here that appears to have never been used. Multi-tools, lockout, tagout, which is part of the IT box. Stud finders, knives, Sawzall blades, Swiss-made Sawzall blade. This is a general purpose 6-inch blade. There's some watch batteries in here. Actually, this is good to know, because if they still have a charge, then I will replace the batteries in my AirTags with that. But let me figure this out. So, drywall saw. And here's some blades for this little box cutter knife that I kind of like from DeWalt. So, in case you haven't noticed, I've been a fan of DeWalt since my childhood. I was exposed to Makita's tools and DeWalt's, and I had a much better experience with DeWalt than I had with Makitas in the past, so they're kind of stuck with me. All right, so let's just slowly start moving stuff over. Put the grease gun in there. What's in here? So these are the little boxes that you put in here for stuff like this. But there's some wire caps in here, some outlet covers, hooks. Actually, these might be good for, I have an idea that I can use these for. Actually, a couple of hook ideas come to mind. I got these little hooks. They have a little retaining tab. I don't know if you can see that on camera. But essentially, you have to push this tab up to get something to go in. And what I like about this is my sister and brother-in-law in their house, in their old kitchen, they had a whole bunch of little hooks like this under their kitchen cabinets. And they used to hang their coffee cups from them. And I thought it was really cool. So I ended up getting a pack, but I never used them. And then I also got gold ones. Never used them. And there's actually some rubberized black ones too for pots and pans or whatever else you can think of. So I got to figure out what to do with that. Let's see. Let's get these knives out of here. Mylar blanket. I think everybody should have a Mylar blanket. I have 2 of them. So that should, go somewhere. I think, where did I just put that knife? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I'll put the blades with it. And I have an outlet tester that can go with the power meter. I have a stud finder that can go behind the power meter. And then saws. Where are we going to put saws, guys? Which drawer should we put saws into? We should put something on this side, huh? Let's put saws over here. So there's that blade. There's this blade. I know I have a pack somewhere full of blades that go to my Sawzall. But you know what? If you were to ask me right now where my Sawzall is, I'd probably tell you that I haven't seen it for a year. So, lockout, tag out, plastic pieces, miscellaneous pieces, more miscellaneous pieces. Here's a hardware kit to something that I don't remember what it was from. Doesn't matter, it's going here now. My little multi-tool. This is the first multi-tool that I had. I actually used this in theater when I was in high school. And I always loved it because this one has a spring. In the video last night that I shot, I actually mentioned that my current Leatherman does not have a spring. So you have to kind of put your index finger in between to actually, get it to open up again. So this guy holds special memories too, because I think this was a Walmart buy, and actually still to this day have it. So that completes box number 1. Well, minus these 2. I still have to figure out what to do with that. So what I really liked about the system is you just press these 2 things and then this lifts off. So I'm going to close this so I don't break my foot or something with it coming down on me. And really durable, almost in the style of a Pelican case. You have these handles if you need to set it on it. You also have this one to carry it, normally. Locking hole for a standard, padlock or whatever. I actually really like this, so I hope my mom gets good use out of this. All right, this one is, these 2 are the larger trays or boxes, if you will. and these are the ones that are going to be quite festive. It's where the bulk of the weight is. So I also like the fact that there's yellow rubberized inserts here, so it actually makes a pretty tight seal. These trays also go to this box, so I'm going to put the screwdrivers in with the screwdrivers, because now we have DeWalt screwdrivers here. So I think this is one of those channel lock multi-bit screwdrivers, wire cutters and strippers, terminal brush for car battery. So yeah, Sharpies. I don't even think that Sharpie works anymore. If it's inside this box, probably not. This is an attachment for my cordless drill. More screwdrivers. That's a miniature one. It goes in with the miniature. Here's another saw blade. Put that with the saw blades. Here's a USB adapter. More screwdrivers. Here's a nubby. Here's a dangerous adapter. Oh no, this is 20 amp to 15 amp adapter, so it might be dangerous. Okay, I have a bunch of Allen keys, so I'm gonna put those down here because I don't think any of these sets are complete, which actually, honestly, I'm really disappointed about, because when I was younger, I spent a lot of money on tools when I was starting to work out in IT and doing my thing. I started slowly collecting bits and tools and drivers. Now, none of these tools are, snap-ons or anything crazy like that. I didn't do anything ridiculous like that, but it still, if you think about it, is a lot of money. Even if you get cheap tools and you get a lot of them, it's a lot of money, So I hope you guys can see over here where I'm working at. Sorry about that, if you weren't able to see it. And now we have random bolts that are just laying around. So, all right, we got another box resolved. Okay, I have a bunch of gloves. Always had a bunch of gloves. And most of them don't even have pairs anymore. So, look at the size of this adjustable wrench. I love it. And yes, it's a DeWalt. Here's a pack of saw blades. DeWalt's. My wife came home. Sunrise and she's home. Hello. What am I selling? Yeah. I'm not selling anything. I'm actually moving out of these toolboxes. So that way I can get this box to my mom, these boxes to my mom tomorrow. Okay. So now we're going to venture into the ground, the realm of wrenches. Probably gonna put them over here. I should probably organize these, but like I said, it's gonna take me some time to do it properly, so I think right now my goal is to just get things moved over. So I'm just gonna slip these tools in here. Combination of Walmart tools, and I think these are all Walmart tools actually. Yeah, Channel Lock and Husky brand. Actually, I think personally for me, a tool's a tool, so they haven't failed. You know, they haven't stripped out or lost their sparkle. So, yeah. I remember getting a set for when I started working on my diesel cars, because I had 2 diesel cars. The first one was super old, and old cars equal easy service. So, especially old mechanical diesels that are not like computer controlled, had 300,000 miles on that car. I was using these wrenches to do oil changes, everything. You know, there's metrics in here, like here's a 10 mil. And here's a 15 mil. So I should probably split these up into metric and SAE at some point. I will do that. Some of these are huge. Here's a 16 mil. So I just have to spend some time on this. 21 mil. This you can use as a weapon. 19 mil, 17, etc., etc. So we have that. I have no idea what this is. Oh, I do know what this is. This is a bicycle spoke tool for my bike that's now on the wall. I should probably get that down and service it and do something with that. So, okay, those trays are empty. I'm gonna put a drill kit in there. Okay, we have more. These are Allen keys. There's hammers in here. Look at the size of this tool. Oh yeah, 15/16. So we'll put that over there. We have hammers, which, do I have a hammer drawer? Hammers. I'll put them in here, because I have another hammer over there that I need to bring over here. That is a PVC cutter. I bought this to maintain the pool equipment in the old house. So, yeah. That's gonna go probably in the back of a miscellaneous drawer. Okay, so here's the tough part of all these kind of toolboxes, is that if you have a ton of unorganized stuff, like for example, this is a 32.5 millimeter socket that you use to take off the oil filter in a diesel Jetta specifically, and probably more diesel engines. But I don't have any place to put it, so guess what? It lived on the bottom of this toolbox, along with this is for wheels. Here's one of those multiple 7 millimeter to 19 millimeter adjustable sockets. all these things are just living on the bottom of this toolbox. I don't have a crate or box or anything to put them into. So I'm going to end up having to dump them into this drawers and further the mess, I think. And I'm not a fan of that because, well, I'm just not a fan of that. So these are sockets. Are all these drawers already full? Well, I need a drawer for sockets, so let me move the air stuff down to the bottom. When I originally bought this, I thought, I'll never fill up 9 drawers. Yeah. Next time, I should just open stuff up and see what I have. Yeah, here's all my ratchets, my extenders, my adapters. I'm just surprised that all these tools survived all these years. You know, I really took an active effort into taking care of these tools and making sure that they didn't get lost over the years. I'm actually probably going to use this in here because that doesn't go to that. It's blue. It's a really dark blue, but it should do the trick. Here's a pair of miniature pliers. Miniature pliers go with miniature tools. Let's see, we got some channel locks. We got an 8mm Allen key. I got tools for days. Gonna put the big stuff down there into this drawer. So I'm probably just gonna put my plumbing stuff down below because I don't. Yeah, see, most of my kits are just, you know, broken and incomplete because they're super old. That's why I have all these different, like I have this Ryobi one that I put in here. I didn't even mention it because my DeWalt ones were getting thin with drill bits, and you end up buying new ones, and then you realize, oh, but I have this, and now you end up with like 50 tools that are exactly the same because you buy kits and sets and stuff like that. So I think what I need to do is I need to start maybe doing an inventory of what I do have and then figuring out what I don't have and just ordering those tools specifically, either from, you know, Husky or whomever, and just slowing down my accumulation of junk. This looks like a bottle cleaner one with a spring. I vaguely remember buying that. Don't ask me for what, though. I have no clue. So now this box is just covered in sockets. Sockets and adapters for the drill. So, you know, I really do like these drawers. They're really smooth, quiet, really decent, I think. Really really well made. So far I'm happy with that purchase. Like, how did I end up with 3 deep sockets, but all the other ones are just normal? Yeah, you look at the stuff and you wonder where did it come from? I'm sure those were part of a maintenance kit for one of the cars. I may have to get a tray for these. If you guys know, because I haven't looked, if you guys know if there is a tray that will hold SAE and metric sockets that I can just put in here, where these will all just have a home, let me know down below in the comments, because it's, you know, matter of organization at this point. It's, you know, every man for himself. And some of these are so old that they've grown rust on them. So I should probably clean those at some point. But yeah, I'm thinking that this was a decent investment. You know, trying to put everything in one spot. I'm not traveling with tools anymore. I'm not, I don't have the need to, you know, load up the car with like specialized tools to go someplace and, you know, do some of that work. I think if I ever do that again, it'll be outsourced. I'm just not at that age where I can climb into tight spots and do stuff like that anymore. So these tools will probably be part of my legacy for Eddie. You know, if he wants to be hands-on with his cars, or if he wants to, you know, build a go-kart or whatever, he'll be able to do that. I think. Let's just pour these in here. Like I said, more organization is necessary. So I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. However, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm actually taking this to my mom's tomorrow, where she will take possession of this. And I wanted her to have it. I might even hose it out in a little bit with some water just to get the dust and dirt out of here. Because I think I've had these toolboxes now for 3 years. I think I bought them the year we moved into our... Actually, this would be the 4th year that I've had these. And they've just been, you know, really good toolboxes. All right, 2 down. Let me stick this on top since it's empty now. Close that. Close that. And like I said, push this, and then this just comes off. And they're pretty beefy, like in terms of weight, they're pretty, you know, hefty. Let me bring it down a little bit more, because I think you guys are looking out that way more. All right, so this is my, besides those 2 toolboxes that are over there, this is the last of this toolbox. So I have 2 Sawzalls, one that's battery and one that's powered, because sometimes you just need a little bit more oomph than these little 20-volt batteries will put out. So we have 2 of them. And actually, I may actually use one of these to trim the tree that's behind me at some point. I need to pull this blade out though, so it'll fit in the drawer. Yeah, this one was nice. The 20 volt stuff from DeWalt is really nice, but sometimes you start cutting into something thick and it gets hot and the battery starts yelling at you and screaming and telling you, well, I don't want to cut anymore. And then you end up, you know, halfway through a piece of wood only to find out that, you know, these batteries, you know, don't really hold out much. That's full. That's good. This one. How come this one doesn't have a gauge on it? Well, that's weird. But I upgraded the batteries from these 20 volts. I think this is, I don't know what this is. It doesn't actually tell me what they are. It just says 20 volt lithium ion. I wonder if these are some generic batteries that I got. 20 volt, 1.3 amp hours. Yeah, type 1. This one is 4 amp hours. So I bought these because I had to clean the pool in the old house. And this is actually the scrubber that I used to clean the mineral deposits off of the walls. I'm surprised that actually made it here instead of the trash can. I'm going to put the DeWalt batteries on this side. I have a multi-charger because, you know, DeWalts come with their chargers. But if you have like 4 or 5 batteries, you know, with all of your tools, it's easier to just plug them all into one charging system. That's a business card holder. I'm surprised that's in a toolbox. All right, let's see. We got some brushes here. I'll throw those in here with the other. Here's another kit with bits and stuff. Of course, there's some missing. You know, I can't have anything nice. Here's a Dremel set, which don't ask me where the Dremel is. Actually, the Dremel should have been in here. And then this is my sander that I picked up at a, I think I picked this up at a either a yard sale or one of those swap meet thingies, because I definitely didn't own one. I didn't own one for the longest time, and I figured if I started doing stuff with the home and I required it, I would have it. Oh, here's the original brochure for this tough box. Cool. Really cool. Sweet. I'll leave that in there. My mom can look at that if she wants to. So this is ready to go. Okay, so here's what I really like about this. Can you guys see that all right? Yeah. So you can actually lug these around as if you were rolling around in an airport. And it actually works really well. And then if you stack them on, assuming that you did everything correctly. Oh, come on. All right. What am I doing wrong? There it is. If if you did everything right, yep, they're all locked together. You can actually take these someplace and work on something and then take them back to wherever they belong. So the other thing with this is this box actually is part of this frame, the bottom box. So the only two that remove are the middle one and the top one. And then, you know, like I said, rubber wheels, so it makes it easy to roll over bumps and stuff like that. Oversized wheels. And really smooth, doesn't make any noise. So if you're rolling it on, like it's rolling on concrete right now, it's not making any noise. So really cool. I have to figure out how to get that into the EUV. I'll probably just lay it down in the trunk, maybe fold the seats down or something, because it is pretty beastie. Okay, so we got through this. I'm not sure how long this video is, so if you guys are still watching, thank you for being here. Oh, one of the other things that I was talking about last night that I wanted to share, which was really close to my heart. You guys know that I've been away for a while. I stopped doing videos for about a month, and the reason for that, a lot of things happened in my life. There was a bunch of stuff that I needed to take care of. Also, our dog Duchess got really sick. She's been sick for the last about 5 weeks, and she's getting better, but she's not 100%. She might be at like 85%. So she got a bacterial infection from some kind of fungus that she picked up over here in the yard. And she's been on antibiotics, cough meds, even Benadryl for seasonal allergies and whatnot, just to make her breathing easier. And she did pull through. But also, May was Eddie's last month in 4th grade. So super busy there. He had state testing, all that stuff. It made it really tough to make videos. But here's the part that's close to my heart. Is that through the weeks as time went on, I started noticing more and more subscribers that were just jumping ship. I don't have any animosity towards the subscribers. It makes me feel bad because knowing that there was a situation beyond my control that caused me to stop making videos, ultimately caused me to lose a bunch of viewers that may or may not have relied on the content that I made for whatever reason they subscribed to the channel originally for. And it really kind of put things in perspective. You know, YouTube is not my primary source of income. I don't know if it ever will be, just because of how difficult it is to really do stuff. If you do it correctly and you have the resources to do YouTube, then yeah, there's a lot of potential. But I'm not really creative. I try my best to make content that's livable, that's, you know, something that you can watch, you can follow along. But a lot of it I don't really expect. I don't expect $1 million to just fall into my lap. That's what I'm saying. And, you know, the last month has been super tough. It's been super hard for me to even get out of bed, you know. And now, even today, Eddie's sick today. My wife was sick off and on. And, you know, things are changing, you know, in the world. My industry is really up in arms just because of cybersecurity and everything. It's a lot of research, a lot of learning. Every day there's something new that you have to wrap your head around. It makes making these videos so much tougher. But you know what? I will tell you something. I consider this a hobby. I consider this a fun pastime for me. It's a break in the norm. It's an opportunity to share some knowledge that I have. And even though historically the IT videos didn't do really good at all on this channel, there are some channels that are IT centric that are awesome, you know. But at the same time, you know, this technically wasn't an IT channel. It was a business channel that then turned into this weird conglomerate of content between the Bolt EUV, the Kubota, projects around the house, even installing the storage stuff up here, and then the various road trips and charging site reviews and stuff like that. It's literally a spur of the moment thing. If I think of something that I feel would be worth sharing with whoever wants to watch it in the YouTube universe, then so be it, you know. But it is at the same time quite discouraging to know that, you know, you get your heart set on something when you see an upward trend and you see a positive flow with regards to viewership and subscriber count and all that stuff. You know, it's the little details. And then when something in your life takes a turn for the worse, everything goes right along with it, including subscriber counts, viewerships, and all that stuff. Now, I guess that's kind of to be expected, but it was the first time that I ever experienced it. And it's been really, the last couple of weeks have been kind of like, why am I doing this? You know, what's the point? Does anybody actually care? But then there are a few of you that I almost consider personal friends. Even though I've never met you and you guys are maybe even on the other side of the world, I don't know. Some of your comments have been really friendly, really nice, really supportive, encouraging, you know, telling me you love the content, you like watching the videos. You know, there were some people that said, oh man, I don't know why I didn't find your channel sooner. This content's fantastic. And I was just like, oh my God, you know, it's one of those things where I guess you got to take the good with the bad, right? So right now I'm processing the bad, but here I am making this video. I think it's going to be, what, an hour-long video or maybe more, just moving from toolbox to toolbox and just sharing my thoughts and being here with you guys from before sunrise to after sunrise. You know, I want to figure out how to maximize the potentials of doing content. You know, I know there's some of you have asked in the comments below if I would do the tail light modification on the EUV. You know, where you can, on the 2023s, the middle row of lights is essentially useless on the tailgate. And I thought, well, that's an interesting video. And at the moment when that comment came through, I said, yeah, sure, let's do that. But with everything that GM has put us through as owners, and now with the fate of the Bolt EUV and Bolt EV models sealed, you know, do I want to sell this car? Do I want to get a Tesla? Do I want to get something that's more prominent in the market with regards to charging? Is CCS going to continue to be an issue? That kind of thing. And all those things are up in the air. So now me making a modification like that to the taillights is it's in a position where I don't know if I can do it, because if I decide to sell the car, or if I decide to move on from General Motors as a whole, then so be it. I know I've mentioned several times that I've been eyeing pickup trucks, you know, and as such, you know, the R1T from Rivian, as well as the F-150 Lightning, et cetera, et cetera. You know, those vehicles have been more and more appealing to me. You know, I live in the South and I feel like I'm out of place driving, you know, a hatchback. But I love this car. And I really stand true by everything that I've ever said about this vehicle for the last 3,600 miles or whatever it has on it now. it gets you from point A to point B in some form of style. It functions very well on the platform that it's riding on. The battery capacity, I think, is sufficient for a vehicle of this kind. If you have level 2 charging in your house like I do here, 90% of your charging anxiety that comes from part of range anxiety and part of being able to figure out, weather conditions on wind and how's my mileage affected by rain, by inclement weather, that kind of stuff, versus just being able to get in and go. Some people can't rely on CCS charging. I know a buddy of mine in California, he does semi-regular road trips from Los Angeles up north. And he was telling me that on Friday, the CCS infrastructure for Electrify America just fell apart. And I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter too that kind of solidified that. That should never happen. Just like I mentioned in that other video, the one that I did in Greenville a few nights ago, those chargers should just open and be free. If they lose connection and connectivity, that box should be smart enough to say, hey, you need electricity, we failed you, we're giving you free power. That sort of thing. Whoever we is, whether it's EA or if it's EVgo or ChargePoint, I don't care. Those things should just open up, and if they're connected to the grid and they're functioning otherwise, then there shouldn't be any, punishments for the driver because their credit card isn't being taken, or the app won't open, or the network per se is down. Dude, open it up and let people charge, because my life shouldn't be affected by some engineer's mishap at Electrify America. That's kind of my thought on it. But anyway, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, I can make this video even longer, but it's just literally going to be me moving tools and moving boxes around so that I can fit this in there, get this into my car, and move on with life. You guys, you know what? I want every single one of you to go down, take a minute, go down into the comments, and tell me your Memorial Day plans, because, it is a holiday weekend. Monday's Memorial Day. I have military people in my family that I am going to call and tell them, how much I appreciate everything that they've done for us and the sacrifices that they've made for their country, et cetera, et cetera. And I just want to know what you guys are planning on doing. Are you going to do a barbecue? Or are you going to go do a picnic? Or what's the weather going to be like? For us here, we're going to have some rain. There's a 80% chance that Monday's going to be rained out. But you know what? I love it. One of the best things that could have happened this weekend for me was last night. And I'm really upset. One of the things that really makes me mad is that the audio wasn't on any of the video. And that's actually why I'm wearing a microphone today, because I'm not trusting the cameras anymore. I had this garage door open and the rain was just making music with everything that it hit. There was some rustling in the trees. When it would hit the glass window of the EUV, it was making a specific pitch. When it was hitting this bucket, it was kind of percussion-y, like almost like calypso style music. And the trash cans were like bass drums with the water dripping off the roof, big drops coming and hitting the lids of the trash cans. It was almost musical. And it gave me so much peace. And it actually, helped me put this thing together without, losing my head or anything. And it was a good evening. Did have a couple of deer come up, but I don't have any animosity towards deer. It's all the other stuff, the stuff that bites you, that I have issues with. There's some dogs across the street that got out, and they were chasing Eddie through our yard, and I had to get in between the dog and my kiddo. And let me tell you something. I don't care if the dog is this big or if the dog is this big. They got teeth, and typically they don't let go, especially when they're hungry. And I don't think they're being taken care of very well, because they're left out in the open. They're in a cage. I think they dug a hole and they got out. And, I just, you can't trust animals. Deer, they're afraid of me. They look at me and they're like, oh my God, he's huge. And then they slowly turn around and walk away. They don't run away. They just kind of like, was that a crow that was just flying by? Anyway, you guys let me know down below what your Memorial Day looks like. And I'm just going to assemble some stuff for my mom that she can't do herself. I'm going to deliver this to her. And I am going to spend some time with my kiddo. My wife is going to, I don't know what she's going to do. Well, she's going to be able to do whatever she wants to do, because Eddie and I are going to go see Grandma. So we're going to spend most of the day up there. And that's pretty much it. So I think this will be, this video will close out Memorial Day weekend for me, I think. There might be another one. I just don't know. There's so much stuff that I want to talk about. There's so much stuff that I want to do. It's just, trying to get all the noise in my head to quiet down for me to be able to focus to do it. But we'll see what happens. So for now, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate every single one of you that stuck around. If you're still watching this video, I really believe that you deserve a gold star, because this video is very long and it's almost very tedious. But thank you so much for supporting us, the channel, everything. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Happy Memorial Day. And thank you to all who served. Thank you for your sacrifices and everything that you have done for this country. We greatly appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye.